YouTubers, space sleuths, alien detectives and pareidolia police. I've got another one for you here today. The main image we're going to be looking at today is this one, and it's from Sol 778, so this is going back quite a long time. I've got it here in the Gigapan. This one's by Todd, so credit to Todd for this. And the main anomaly we're looking at today is this thing here, which looks like another helmet. Now, it may not be a helmet, of course, but it looks like one, and I have found a number of others, not very far from here, literally a matter of less than 200 meters from here. And before we go any further, I've opened a new channel, which you may be interested in. Some of you have offered in the past to make donations to my channel, especially a year or so ago when the apocalypse hit. And I didn't, like many channels did, I didn't actually start a Patreon account so that people could donate to the channel and help me carry on producing these videos, because it is very hard when you're only earning something like $5 or $10 a day to actually keep going with this. It's very difficult. I have had a lot of stuff in the press in the past, which has kind of boosted my channel here and there, but it's very difficult to get into the mainstream media and get the big viral videos. I have been lucky a few times, but only a few in the last 5 years. So if you want to make a small donation, even if it's only $1 or 50 cents or £1 or euro or whatever it may be, as small as you like, you can come on BitChute, my new channel here. I've only opened this channel a couple of days ago, so a lot of videos haven't been viewed much yet. It's quite a good platform. It's totally uncensored, unlike YouTube, and you can actually make donations if you go on, if you click on the video, like in here, which is the first one I uploaded. There's an option to donate just here, and if you have a PayPal account, it will ask you to put the amount in there, and you can make a repeat payment or just a one-off payment. So the smallest donation would be appreciated. Thank you very much in advance. I know a lot of you have offered before, and I've not really taken you up on it, so here's your chance. It would really help out my channel, and I do really struggle, and when $5 a day is not enough to live off, really, and I have complained to YouTube about the very poor rates that we get, and not only that, they take most of the advertising revenue. In fact, they also lie about the number of views you get, so I think they are actually committing fraud as well. I can't prove it, but basically what they do is they don't count many of your votes. I think up to about, not votes, I mean views. I would say something like 50 to 70% of my views are not even being counted at all, which means they're committing fraud, because obviously you earn money from the advertising on those views, and if they're not telling you the true number of views, then they're committing fraud and taking the advertising money for themselves and not giving it to me or whoever. Okay, so there we have it. There is something very fishy going on. It may be something to do with the censorship that's going on recently since the American election, but basically there is something very weird going on, and I'm sure some of you will have opinions about that. I'm not going to get into it too deeply because I don't want to get blocked, but there are some very serious issues being played out at the moment, and somebody seems to be in control of YouTube who is not necessarily from YouTube. That's all I'm going to say. I'll leave you to think about that and do your own research and look it up. So let's crack on with it, okay? This is the image, and you've got this big Gigapan here, and you've got a classic ridge line and another one over here on the right. The main thing we're looking at is here, and like I've said in many previous videos recently especially, the place to look for anomalies is at the bottom of ridge lines. These ridge lines are all over Gale Crater. There are hundreds of them. Some of them are quite large, like this one. I would guess this is probably something like 20 or 30 feet high. I don't know. I'd say around the 20, 25 feet maybe. A lot of them are only this high, about sort of 10 to 15 feet. But this is quite a large one, and if you look near this end of it, by this big dark rock here, you'll find this. Links will be below as usual, so you can check all this yourself. So there we are. Now let's crack on with it, so I don't want to take all day. Let's go straight into the folder, and have a look at the clips I've taken. Now, I haven't downloaded all the images from this sol. What I've done is just taken a select few which looked interesting and found a couple of rather strange things, including this one. Let's show you this first because that's the main thing we're looking at today. That looks very much like a helmet. Now, if you're new to this channel, you may think that I'm completely nuts, fair shout, but there are many other similar examples that I have found and other people have. This is one of many, and it does look very much like, almost like a Greek helmet with a cheek plate here, top of the helmet here, with a ridge going over it to the back, and something strange sticking out the back, just here. Don't really know what that is. It may be something completely different. I may have got this completely wrong. It's hard to say when you're looking at images which are out of focus and not very sharp and fairly low res, or very low res in fact by today's standards. The camera was built and designed for this rover many years ago, and is what we would call very low res. Now it's less than 2 gigabytes, 2 gigapixels per image. It's about 1.7, but they do downgrade the images before we get them, so we end up with trash most of the time. But there we have it. This thing was big enough, just enough to see some detail, and you've got what look like eye holes here or something like that, and a sort of mouth area here with a nose there, almost like a helmet fitting over a head. Now I don't know whether there is anything inside this helmet. If it is a helmet, it could well be something else. It certainly doesn't look like a rock, whatever it is. It looks fairly clear actually when you look at it, even in the raw clip here. You can see those details. I haven't added any detail. So, as usual, I do a very basic enhancement. I try and keep it real as far as possible. But people on mobile devices do need things brightened up quite a lot, so they often have the brightness turned down, as I've said before. So there was that one. There was also this one, which was really odd. Now, I posted both of these on Facebook a while back, probably a couple of weeks ago. And this one, I put it on Facebook and I put woof woof in the comments. And what else can I say? It's absolutely ridiculous, this thing. Absolutely laughable. It looks like a dead dog that's had its head torn off or something, with a nose here. There's the nose, there's the mouth, the darker area here underneath, 2 distorted eyes. It looks kind of mummified, and it looks like an ear sticking out here with sort of something on top of it here. What the hell is that? And this may not be a dog at all, of course. I appreciate that. It's crazy, I know, but I have found skulls that look like dogs and other creatures, as well as fossilized, kind of mummified specimens as well. So it's certainly not the first dog, if it is. But it's very hairy. Now, if this was a rock, why would there be hair on it? Even in the raw image here, you can see what looks like hair, fuzzy kind of hair. Now, that isn't just because the camera is not in focus. It is partly, but what's happening here is there is fine detail that the camera cannot pick up because it's too low res. This is why you get this kind of fuzzy effect. You can if you have a dog at home, get your mobile phone, take the dog in the garden and take a shot of your dog from a bit of a distance whilst at the other end of the garden, or your cat. It worked better with a hairy dog if you have one. And basically, I was going to say a joke about the mother-in-law then, but I won't do it. Basically, what you do, just take a photograph of your dog, and then what you do then is but on your camera, don't use the full res on your camera, which is probably going to be a 10 or 16 or possibly 20 gigapixel camera. Downgrade it to a sort of 1 or 1.5, and then take a photograph at a bit of a distance and zoom in a little bit. It would go a bit fuzzy, and this is the effect you get when you take a photograph of something hairy. Now, it may just be a rock that happens to be shaped like that. I appreciate that. And this may actually be plant growth, low level lichen or some kind of moss growth on the rock. I have shown many examples of that before. And Mars does turn green every year in the summer. So this is one of the best kept secrets by NASA. astronomers have taken photographs of Mars and it does turn green. We get censored images of Mars and they're often colour filtered with an orange filter. So there we are. So is it a dog? Maybe. Is it a rock that looks like a dog with growth on it? More likely, I would say. But I have found other examples of dog skulls and things like that not very far from here, at the bottom of ridgelines also. So there we are. And like I've said before, I actually do think that these ridgelines are possibly burial mounds, or at least they had things buried in these ridgelines which have now become exposed as they've eroded. And here we have that other thing which also looks like a helmet. Now initially it looks like a rock, low quality image, I appreciate that, but when you enhance it and brighten it up, you've got an eye here, this is a cone head, an eye here, a nose coming down to here, and what looks like a mouth here, and a chin, kind of jaw coming round here. Some interesting details here. It's very fuzzy, I appreciate that, but you can see this kind of looks like a pointed helmet with an eye hole here and a nose guard coming down. You can see a reflection along there like a nose guard. This almost looks like a Norman style helmet with that sort of point, but there seems to be some detail here hanging down as if there's a kind of cheek plate or neck plate coming down here at the back. I could be way off the mark here. This could be a part of a statue, it may not be a helmet. Either way, what I do think a lot of these things are, let's go back to the Gigapan here. Either way, what I do think these things are burial artifacts. Now, whether these are actual helmets or carvings of statuary art that were buried around here, and this may have all been a massive mound and it's kind of eroded away from millions or many thousands of years of wind erosion. This may have all been covered at one point. And there are some really weird things in this image. There are a lot more that I'm not showing you right now, because I do encourage you to follow the link and check for yourself. There's a load of crazy stuff over this side as well. And if I find anything really cool, I'll put it in at the end of the video like I normally do for you. But I do encourage you to look at these things, because I'm sure the Pareidolia police will savage me yet again, as I usually get, because I have found hundreds of examples of not only helmets, but statues, heads, skulls, and artifacts, and they're nearly always at the bottom of these ridgelines. And these ridgelines are all over the place. There's rows and rows and rows of them, and they go on for miles and miles, and we've only seen a fraction of them so far. And I do appreciate some of you have been commenting saying that you want me to do more videos on the buildings in the Gale Crater, but of course I've covered all the buildings that we've seen so far, and unfortunately the rover at the moment is not really doing much. There was a huge sandstorm on Mars about a month ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago I think it was, and it hasn't cleared yet, so the images are very poor and very dark. And we're not getting any long shots of the mountain where the buildings are. So we're kind of stuck, us researchers, going over older images here of some of these older pictures taken a few years ago, which are good quality on the whole and quite clear. Okay? So there we have it. I mean, like I've said before, if you want to find something cool on Mars, look for a ridgeline and then look at the bottom of the ridgeline and scan the row of debris at the bottom of the ridge, and you will find something. You may not find something in every image, but you will eventually find something, whether it be a statue, a skull, or a helmet, or whatever, or some other strange artifact. And this does look like a helmet here. Once you realise there's one here, why wouldn't that be one? Now these may have been carved or burial items that were buried in this area, and there may be loads of other crazy stuff buried as well. The dog, or that thing that looks like a dog, which is probably a rock with some kind of growth on it, is right over this side, I think. There was this other thing that looked a bit like a helmet as well, just here, but it's really small and it's probably just a rock. But yeah, I mean, there's lots of things on Mars that look like things, and they aren't necessarily those things, of course. And I always get attacked by the Pareidolia police for pointing these things out in the first place. But I found so many things now, like buildings and giant sphinxes and structures and objects including shipwrecks and stuff like that, that I really think it's time to move on from there and try and work out what these things are, what they mean, who they belong to, what these people were like. That is the purpose of this channel, to try and work out what happened, when it happened, and why it happened, and why we are seeing so many of these things in the area. So thanks for watching, everybody. I do appreciate it. If you watch my videos, of course, if you're a new subscriber, welcome aboard. If you're an old subscriber, thanks for your continued support. And I do urge any of you, if you so wish, to make a small donation, however small it is, whether it's 20 cents or $2, really doesn't matter. It will be much appreciated, because I am really struggling to make ends meet at this end, and doing this full time when you're only getting $5 a day is almost not even worth getting out of bed for, really. And this is partly why I joined this BitChute site as well, not only to do that, but mainly to back up my videos in case YouTube, for some crazy reason, suddenly disintegrates, which it may well do. So this is a backup channel. I've only uploaded videos on this channel so far from 2016, so what I'm going to do then is do my 2015 and 14 ones perhaps, or maybe 2017. But I do have about 700 uploads now, so it's going to take a while. But if you haven't checked out BitChute, it's an up-and-coming video platform. It's a bit more basic than YouTube, but it's uncensored, and there's lots of content on here which has already been banned, recently been banned on YouTube, so you can check it out. And you could, instead of having adverts on stuff, you can just make a small donation instead. However small is cool. So thanks for watching, everybody. Links will be below as usual to this Gigapan here. Good work by Todd, nice clear Gigapan. I'll link to any raw images as well, and there we are. So thanks for watching, see you soon.